touch the genitals is O, fire. O. At the feet is earth, U. Ooh. Stamp your right foot and say Q. That's planet Earth on which we stand. So we are now the connection between H, the universe above our heads, and Q, the earth at our feet. Through you, all 7 planets shine their light, and you are in a grand room that is fairly dark. Around the edge, there are 7 doors. Each one leads to a chamber. The door you see before you is Venus. Become aware of the green emerald ray that comes down into you and then goes out to that door to light up the room that is beyond it. Before your feet, the watery green ray of Venus forms a path to the door at the far side of your working space. You are now in a meditation, so the space may be closed or large as your imagination dictates. As you desire to reach the door, you find yourself moving toward it. It feels like you are surfing along waves of water, and as you approach the grand malachite door, it swings open. The watery rays end at the threshold, and you step forward into an intense green passage on an upward slope. At the end of the ramp, you emerge into a huge green room. Before you, there is a vast window looking out into the universe. Stars glimmer in all colors within the depths of space. The window is framed by mighty forest green velvet curtains, held back by massive ropes of green vines. Before the window is a table that holds several objects that represent Venus, but you do not have time to explore them. You are here for a purpose, and so you turn around to face the door by which you entered. You look around and find 2 grand staircases curving around as they ascend to a second level platform that is over the passage to the entrance. On that level, there are 6 doors. Go to the stairs to your left and ascend. Today, you will choose the door second from the left. This is the door that leads to the path of Libra. It is green with a yellow frame. Within your aura, you feel the vowels stir, and in your hand is the key to open the door. Unlock it, open it, and walk through. The hallway has green floor and ceiling with airy yellow walls. Within a few feet, the walls fade away into dappled sunlight filtered through the green trees at the top of cliffs on either side. You are in a narrow ravine, perhaps a dozen feet wide and 2 or 3 stories deep. There is a lively stream tumbling over the bedrock with a happy gurgling sound. The walls of the ravine show layer after layer of bedrock, laid down over millennia, mostly with dark, wet stone that occasionally has some moss. It is not bright in spite of the noontime sun overhead. You turn upstream and begin your journey. The ravine is charming, a perfect setting for a nature walk. While there are no wildflowers at this time of year, The autumn has begun to loosen the colored leaves from the trees overhead. Yellow leaves predominate, with a few red ones scattered in for good measure. There is a slight breeze moving the trees overhead, but the ravine is too deep for the breeze to penetrate. There is a cool dampness in the air that prevents rocks and soil from fully drying out, even at this late date of the year. It has been a long time since you fully enjoyed the green freshness of nature in the raw. This journey is a relief from the stress of city life. Why have you not done this more often? A fallen tree spans the stream with enough room to climb under. Sit for a bit and take in this lush paradise. It is good that no one else is walking this path. The solitude feels right and natural. Sharing the trail with chipmunks and other small creatures is fine, but people tend towards conversation. There is a clear scent of dried leaves from above and damp earth below. The brook tumbles over small rocks and bedrock. You are at peace with life. As you reach a pool of still clear water, you notice there is no more sunlight filtering through the leafy canopy. You sit down on a boulder and watch the water striders moving on the reflective water. This is how you first see Elle, the creature you have come to meet. Elle gracefully glides over the ground, first leaning forward, then backward, with eyes set high at the end of the upper seraph. When it reaches the pool, it continues toward you, the bottom leg hidden under the water. Elle tips its head down to look into your eyes. Like this place? You nod yes. At least you have good taste. Elle comes out of the water and turns to face the pool with you. After a moment, Elle begins a conversation. You balanced? Thinking back on the rites to prepare for this path working, you are. Good, it's important. Keep a good balance in your life. When were you out in nature last? Oh, I can sense it has been quite a while. At least get a house plant. That will help. I want you to think on something. Elle is silent for a bit in spite of that statement. Then lifting up a twig with an ant on it, Elle continues. Little ant. Yes, part of nature, knows a thing or two, hard worker, keeps faith with the rest of the colony. Elle examines the ant in great detail. Then the twig and ant are tossed into the water near the water strider. There you go, little ant. End your life. The water strider promptly takes the ant and eats it. This is not what you expected. Now, little ant, you are a water strider. Think of that. What a transformation. Elle is pleased with the transformation. You weren't expecting that, were you? Well, maybe the ant wasn't either. But really, if you think about it, life is a balance between predator and prey, living and dying. Everything has to eat. Fact of life. No sentiment about it. Let's go up to the falls. Together, you head upstream again and soon turn off into a side channel that has a thin stream of water cascading over rocky shelves as it descends. These seem to form a natural stairway if you are ready to do a bit of scrambling on muddy and wet surfaces. Did you know it's raining? Yes, out beyond the trees. You can hear it in the leaves. There is a distinct sound as the rain hits the leaves, and you realize it is not a gentle summer rain, but rather the first salvo of a strong autumn storm. Looking upstream, You realize that runoff will soon be flooding down the ravine, and the brook will become a raging torrent. Then suddenly there is a loud burst of thunder screaming to be directly overhead. It startles you, but Elle just chuckles. Guess you're going to climb that falls, huh? No life is worth living if there's no danger or challenge. Better get started. It's muddy and will get worse as the rain gets stronger. By now, you are getting wet. Go on. No, I'm staying here. I will be fine. No need to worry about me. But you, well, you could get into trouble. Another crash of thunder and a brilliant flash to go with it. If you stay here any longer. You look at the falls one more time to check for a route, but the water in the brook is already up to your thighs, and the falls in the side ravine is beginning to get stronger. There is no time for delay. Begin climbing step by step, hands chilled by the flow of water, feet struggling for secure toe holds. The flow of water is increasing, and the amount of moss is spreading as you reach the area near the top. Here, sunlight normally can penetrate more easily, giving more favorable growing conditions to the moss, but it is slippery. Perseverance and determination pay off. But as you reach the top and come out of the surrounding woods, more lightning is erupting all around you. Crossing the field that is in front of you would be perilous, and you would be the tallest feature. Not inviting lightning to strike is not part of this path working. On the far side of the field, you can see the door that is the end of the path working. How to reach it safely. Amid the downpour and thunder, you hear a familiar gurgling, clicking, and humming to the right. You head for it, and almost immediately you find Aewi, the Venus guardian. She looks up at you and laughs, hands you an umbrella. What good would that do with the gusts of wind that are now pushing and prodding at you? But Aewi has a plan. As she begins to hop over the ground, she grows in size until she is twice as tall as you. She puts a hand on your shoulder and prods you to head for the door. You waste no time, and soon the two of you safely arrive at the door. She nudges you forward one last time and then turns and disappears behind you. The door is bright rose with a blue frame. It is slightly open so you can see a magenta room beyond. Go through the door and enter the Saturn sphere. You stand on a balcony overlooking the room that is exactly like the one you entered through, but it's a different color. You descend the stairs, and before you, you see the vast window looking out into the universe. Stars glimmer in all colors within the depths of space. The window is framed by mighty magenta velvet curtains, held back by massive rosy colored ropes. Before the window is a table that holds several objects that represent Saturn, but you do not have time to explore them. Go to the door that leads out to the main temple room under the balcony. Before your feet, the watery blue ray of Saturn forms a path to the center of the temple. As you desire to reach that center, you find yourself moving toward the door. It feels like you are surfing along waves of water. And as you approach the center, step off the ray and onto the center of the temple. Take a deep breath, become aware of your position at the center of the temple and the center of the rays that pass through you. Be thankful for the experiences you have had, then allow the 7 colored rays of light to fade from your awareness and inner vision. Temple light dims and the rays fade away. The central clear light remains to energize you and to fill your aura. Breathe deeply, feeling the light fill your entire being. Breathe deeply again knowing it to be as full as it can be. As you take a third breath, allow the outer edge of your aura to become more solid until you know nothing will penetrate it without your explicit permission. The temple fades from your awareness. Instead, you begin to notice the scent, the feel of the physical space from which you began this journey. Breathe deeply again as you adjust back into your daily life. Take with you the memory of your adventures, but leave behind that special awareness that brings meaning into your meditations. Become again a part of the daily physical world. When you have made the transition, open your eyes, stretch, and leave your working space. Return to the daily life to do the work of your hands and heart. This ends the meditation. Okay, if you could flip on the video image when you are ready to be out of the meditation, I'll know when everybody is back with us. Okay, you can take another deep breath and center on coming back into video land. I'm not sure if the other folks that are blocked are part of our group at the moment. Is everybody back? Can't hear you.
So sorry. I was saying that I don't think Devin has video at the moment, and I don't think Teddy does either.
Right. Okay. So that is a typical path working, one of 21 in that book. It was a bit of trouble to figure out which one to do. And I thought I would go with a nature-based one because I thought I was going to be able to do it out in the yard. And that didn't quite work out. But there you have it. Internet connectivity, you know, that's a fun thing. Okay, so are there any questions about what you just experienced? Okay, unmute yourselves if you want to talk. Okay.
So how did you find this book?
I wrote it.
Oh, you wrote it. Oh, I apologize. Goodness. Okay. Well, then where did your ideas come from? Like how this is fascinating. I've never done a meditation quite like that before.
How did I come up with the ideas for the works for the meditations? Okay. What I did was I went back to the medieval times and got a description of each of the signs of the zodiac in terms of the humors. That's the wet, dry, hot, cold. With hot, it's hot and dry. No, with hot and cold, it's active and passive. With dry and wet, dry pushes away, wet draws in. So those factors had to be considered in coming up with the actions. The letters were assigned previously so that I knew which letter went with Virgo. It's the M. If you think about it, M is basically the shape of the Virgo symbol, but with the curl at the end. So that's how I came up with the letter. Wait a minute. Yeah. Virgo. This was L. I thought I was doing M. Okay. Anyway. L is Libra. It's the upright that the scales balance on. Libra is ruled by Venus, therefore the path begins at Venus. It's the whole layout of the tree, of the star, that indicates where that particular path ends. It ends at Saturn, because it is on that particular part of the star. That's all explained in the first book. This is the second book. So those things all combined, and then I would look at an arbitrary, meaningless assignment of every sign of the zodiac to a time of day.
Huh.
Every sign got 2 hours. A whole bunch of them were sunrise, a couple of them were sunset, the rest were, like that. And then the season was determined by the hot and cold.
Mm-hmm.
And then I wanted to have there's one in a desert, there's one in a blizzard, there's one on a cliffside. So you try to get a variety of different settings. And by the time you get those many details put together, then what you do is you work out, okay, it's a journey. So I'm traveling from here to there. So I'm walking through a series of images and pictures and experiences. The purpose of a path working is to experience things that you're not going to experience out in the real world. I'm not going to have somebody come along and hand me an umbrella because it started to rain while I was on a walk. So there's a certain amount of fantasy play with it. But for the most part, that's how it's done.
Mm-hmm.
And again, these are path workings. These are not, path working is a subset of guided meditation.
Mm-hmm.
In a guided meditation, you sometimes have an experience, but it's not on a traveling from here to there. It might be an experience inside a room, or it might be an experience, something happening and you're dealing with it. Okay, does that answer the question?
Oh yes, definitely. Yeah. Definitely does. Thank you so much. Does anybody else have any other questions for Reverend Gretchen? It was beautiful. It was very unique.
The book is hot off the press. I just got the proof copies a couple of weeks ago, and 5 days ago, my stock arrived. So,
yay!
Hey.
Congratulations. So, question then, where can people buy your book?
Okay. So the best place to buy it is either Amazon or Lulu, LULU.com. That's my publisher.
Awesome.
My places to buy it are on Facebook and on Weebly are, I don't think the links work right for making an actual purchase. I've never had anything come through correctly. But if you go to Lulu or to Amazon, you should be able to find it. I'm not sure how quickly it gets listed on Amazon.
Right.
It's called Traveling the Triple Septagram.
Is it possible in time for it to be sold through the course store as Carolean?
Yeah, I've never talked with anybody in the order about doing a deal with them, so yeah, I don't know.
That would be Michael Neal,
mm-hmm.
because there's a section on Carolean authors.
Yes.
But what I loved about the meditation is the malachite, and my 60th birthday present to myself.
Awesome.
A malachite ring. So
very good.
Yeah. So
well, fantastic. Any of the green stones, opaque or transparent, work with Venus, of course. Mm-hmm. But malachite is particularly beautiful in a lot of ways. I love the patterns that are in it.
Yeah. It's a good stone for travelers.
Uh-huh.
Amazing.
Anybody else
travel again? I will travel again.
Does anybody else have any
Did
other...
I bore everybody else? Did everybody else fall asleep?
Oh. The name of the book is Traveling the Triple Septagram, I believe.
What's the name of the book again? Okay, Traveling the Triple Septagram.
Yeah.
Both Lulu and Amazon will also find it using my name. And for those who are in Buffalo watching this, I do have stock, so I can sell them to you directly at a discount with a piece of the profit going to the temple as
Woohoo!
a fundraiser. So unfortunately, with all the color on the inside, this is the first one that's been affordable with color, but it's still a little expensive. It's $42 for the book. To those who are in Buffalo and buy from me directly, it's $35, no shipping and handling and no sales tax. I take care of the tax. And I can autograph it for you.
Woohoo!
And we'll manage to get the book to you somehow before the weekend is over.
What about if you buy it on Facebook?
Then we have to arrange for you to send me money probably by PayPal.
Oh, okay.
And
And
that
you're
would
s-
still, that if you're attending this workshop, then it would be $35.
And you'll sign it for me too?
Sure. Are you
Awesome.
in Buffalo?
No, I'm in Virginia.
Okay. So I would have to ship it to you.
Okay.
So message me and
Okay.
we'll get it set up for you.
Okay. Okay, we'll do that. I'll message you on Facebook.
Yep.
Okay.
It's just my name, Gretchen A.L. Short. So
Okay.
Yay.
Yay. I'll remember.
So that was a lot of fun. Let's
Good.
see here. Let me.
there's a little bit more to the casting of space and a little bit more to the preliminaries. And there are exercises in the book that introduce you gradually into the different stages of this. For example, the first thing you do is go visit the planetary chambers, and then you go in and you do the first set of 7 are the paths that have the planetary letters on them. And then you get into the 12 for the zodiac signs. The last one has imagery that is, thank goodness I could get the pictures from NASA because I couldn't possibly describe them.
Wow.
So that one is, and the color is extraordinary on those. They really turned out nice. Because it's easier to do the visualization if you know what I'm talking about.
Right. Definitely. Does anybody at Physical Lustration in Buffalo have any questions? You guys are still on mute, so I'm just reaching out to make sure that we're all included here.
So actually, I do have a question for you, Reverend Gretchen.
Okay.
So pathworking is obviously like a dynamic activity or exercise that you can use for like a lot of like different developmental goal reaching magical things, right? So in your book and in your work, do you have any like very specific ways that you would recommend folks start out using the exercises or the work that you've done?
The path workings are fairly direct. And the first time you go through the paths, it helps if you're working directly from the script. And the reason is because I have already gathered in all the correspondences and details in order to give you that full experience. After you go through it the first time, I encourage you to go back over the path again and experience it yourself as a free-form meditation, a free-form traveling of that path. The symbols will change, the presentation of the letter will change, all the details can shift, but now you have an idea of what it is that you're working within. Now, those same chambers, the planetary chambers, where we began in Venus, we ended up in Saturn, those chambers are also used for the next book, the title of which I have not settled on, but the book is already about half written. And that one is on sphere working. And in that case, if you want to do something in for example, make a Venus oil, in addition to everything else that you do to make that oil into a Venusian oil, you can actually do the magical part of the work within the Venus chamber, so that you are literally fully surrounded and empowered by that Venus ray. And the same thing with each of the other planets. So anything magical that you do, you can do in those chambers. The structure is the same. The excess is the same. Technique, different colors. So you can actually leapfrog past, well, not past, but leapfrog right into the middle of the next book, which is going to be the spheres. So planetary working.
Wow.
It's a little harder to introduce something different into a path working without it being, if anything that you're doing with Libra, you could do on this path. So, does that answer your question, Phoenix?
He currently has a 3-year-old on his head.
Yeah, yeah. Last year, when I introduced the Obsedrian system, one of the things that I told you was that it was an entire working system. There are about 5 or 6 books that are pounding at the back door of my brain. I already know what they are. This book, The Path Working, was the biggest, hardest, most detailed part of the project, because it has 21 path workings, 5 guided meditations, and a couple of extra meditational materials thrown in to boot. And everything had to be extraordinarily accurate.
Mhm.
So this one, I've been postponing this one for years. And I finally got around to doing it. Now I'm on a roll, and the universe has decided it wants to get this stuff done. And it's like,
One door after another is opening for you.
I keep locking them and it doesn't work.
It doesn't really work that way.
This semi-quarantine is helping to a large extent, because there's a lot less that distracts me.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Wow. Well, this was great. Does anybody else have any other questions, comments?
Word. So thank you so much, Gretchen. For those of y'all who don't know, Reverend Gretchen is the first elder of the Temple of Holistic Knowledge here in Buffalo, New York. I don't want to say what she specializes in, other than if you have a need, you can probably ask her 1 or 2 questions and finish with a degree.
Are you asking from
after
personal
70
experience?
years and 40 years of practice, it's, picked up a few hints along the way.
So Reverend Gretchen is friendly, helpful, she's kind, she's a great resource to the temple, and she's constantly making herself available to other folks in the tradition through this connection. So if you like what you see from her, you don't have to come through me, you don't have to go through anybody. Whoever's standing behind you can just go the fuck on about their business, holy moly. But you can reach out to her on Facebook. She gives out freely how you can communicate with her. So reach out to her, pick her brain. She really likes that. She enjoys when people come up and are like, hey, I have magical questions, or I would like to further my magical knowledge. So definitely one of the ways that we can honor our elders, particularly Reverend Gretchen, is to tap into that information, that wisdom that she has, that she continues to demonstrate. So again, thank you very much, Reverend Gretchen. And I will be dropping off some food for you at some point today.
Okay, thank you very much.
Oh,
thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Gretchen.
This is fantastic. Thank you so much, Gretchen. I'm so glad that we were able to do this today. So Phoenix, what would you like to roll into next? We have about an hour until Alyssa and Antimony are scheduled to present.
Word. So I think this would be a good time for the third degrees to do the opening circle that I was talking about.
Cool.
So at this point, it's me, it's Kai, it's Aisha, and it's Alyssa. So come on up, ladies. All right. We don't need like all that way. Go that way a little bit. There we go.
That's
All
good.
right. So we have Lady Kai, Lady Aisha, Lady Alyssa, and Phoenix. And so for this opening, I wanted our high clergyhood specifically to talk about why it was important to take the risk and come on up and do this with us and for the larger Northeastern tradition and the global tradition as a whole as well. So can y'all please speak to that and like why it was important to put your magic here? And start.
Me?
Yep.
Oh, well, I think we all really needed this, spiritually speaking. We miss all of our loved ones as it is and our spiritual family. And when we think about unity, we think about magic and togetherness. And I'm just so happy that we get to be here sharing this time and this bond. But we all know no matter how long it's been, how separate we are, we always love each other and we're always linked. But being here physically, even just for 5 minutes, the magic expands and then expands to you because you get to see us being unified.
Mm-hmm. Yes. You go ahead and pick who goes next.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. 2020 is taking a lot from us. It's taken a lot from me. All of my vacations that I've planned for years they're all gone.
Mm-hmm.
And you get kind of sick of seeing the same people. I love my family, but you know, I got to see my other family, and you know, it did help that I live down the road. Yeah, it's helpful. But I am really glad that we have people that will get in the airplane and come on over. But I needed the family. I needed to spend time with other people. And
Alyssa. Thank you.
So for me, I think of the value of the regional illustration as a thing itself. We used to not do regional illustrations. It used to be 2 global illustrations. And when we started doing regional illustrations, it became a really special thing because we all are from, similar places. It's, I had a 6-hour drive to get here.
Mm-hmm.
Aisha had what, 8?
6.5. Just like you. Yeah.
So it's really, first of all, it's an opportunity for those who might not be able to go to a global illustration, maybe can't fly, can't travel, for whatever reason, to be able to hop in a car and come. And something that Phoenix and I have been discussing that we think is really important is starting to rotate our regional illustration and not just center it in Buffalo, but maybe have, 1 year someone else hosts it in Ohio, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Buffalo.
Again.
Vermont.
New Hampshire,
New Jersey.
Maine.
All of them.
So we really, especially in the Northeast region, we're not centrally located in any one place. There's a couple of us all over. So for us, it's super important to be able to gather like this and have that Corellian energy in the Northeast, like you guys do in Florida in the Southeast. And, I'm hoping that the regionals really spread from here and you can do, a West Coast illustration regional and, thanks, baby.
Philippines.
And
Yeah.
it's important for the next generation too, to be able to, and Rachel's sitting there, you're our next generation, honey. And it's really important to get that camaraderie and the ritual, and it's important.
Thank you. So for me, there was a lot that went into thinking about and figuring out how this was going to happen. I was, and still am, tremendously inspired by the way our online global lustration went. And that actually meant the world to me, because Lady Alyssa, Lady Aisha, and myself were all completely heartbroken that we were not going to be going anywhere for lustration. Like, we weren't not just going to go to Louisiana. Like, we weren't going anywhere. Like, we were all grounded just like the rest of you were. And in that moment, when I found out that me and my siblings were not going to be able to gather in the name of our ancestor, in the name of our family spirit, like, I actually got a little willful towards the universe. And I went to the ancestors and I said, hey, if there's a will, there's a way, right? So what's the best way that we can make this happen while keeping everyone safe, and while challenging people to really think about and act on what is really important to them? The regional component was built into our tradition structure, which meant that we already had a process for gathering in small groups if we needed to. So I took that, coming across that, thinking that, looking on the internet and finding a copy of the lustration ritual again, like, wait a minute, no, like, this particular lustration, this regional lustration, it serves a purpose. It allows us to centrally locate and celebrate that thing that keeps us bound and strong and productive throughout the year. So the questions for me was, would anyone else want or need this experience? To come together, come to the altar, come to the ancestors, come to some healing. Would anyone else appreciate that, need that, or want that? People were asking me, hey, like, what do you think you're gonna do? People reached out to me. There were people who reached out to me and was like, I don't think you should cancel. Everyone's canceling, you have to do something different. Like, well, also people are dying, so that's a huge deal. That is something that we have to take into consideration. And so having Reverend Gretchen and her husband Norman, who are both very important to me, be among the most risky people, or in the highest risk group for what we are currently going through, made me really think, like, what is important here, right? Because I do not want my elder and her husband, who are extremely good to me, to be at any risk or be in any danger, because, like, I wanted to have a picnic and hang out with some friends. So the thought process for this is very deep. What do I value? What do we all value? And how can that be accentuated while putting us at risk for the least amount of harm, the least amount of danger? And so clearly we had our CDC guidelines. We've got all these health things that, you know, help us make some decisions. And I was able to utilize that to kind of come to the determination. We really don't have to have 900,000 people at an in-person lustration, because we've already demonstrated that we can reach the whole world. So who are the essential people who want to take the risk and accentuate the value and come out and do the work, while the rest of us have to, because of our circumstance, be at home or be distanced? Upon talking about this vision and this thought and this belief to the rest of the people in the Northeastern region, I found out how many other people actually were willing to take the risk, who did find lustration important enough to come out for, and who were super grateful that I decided to make it happen. And so I woke up like 2 weeks ago, like, you know what, even if it's just me, I'm gonna be at that altar, the Zoom is gonna be up and we're gonna pray, it's gonna happen. And slowly but surely, people started reaching out to me and telling me, no, we're still coming, right? These are the precautions that I'm taking. Like, there are people who are like, oh, no, we're gonna social distance, we're not gonna be around people. Like, I myself gave up dudes for like, and like, oh God, crazy, right? So we all decided what sacrifices we wanted to make in order to make sure that we could be at the best for everyone, right? So like,
We feel for you.
Why y'all laughing?
I didn't give up.
I get it. That's a
Right, so
sacrifice.
we prayed, we sacrificed, we gave all of this to make sure that we could continue the tradition of meeting together. Those of us who absolutely could, who can, who the risk is the most minimal for, right? We can show up, so we are choosing to. And then with the support of our friends and relatives, we got access to ways to make it even more safer. So while this might appear to be an act of rebellion for some folks, it's really not. This is our ability to do what we need to do with what we have to do it with. We have the tools, we have the technology, we have the people. We're getting together to do some work, and we're doing it on behalf of those who can't be with us and with the help and love of those who want to support any way they can. So that is a recipe for sure movement. Right? When we can get together and do what we can, the best that we can reach goals. We can do the great work. We talk about ourselves as the grand family in a very special part of our lustration ritual. That line is so phenomenal that we actually started translating that line into other languages. La gran familia.
La gran familia.
Right? The grand family. And so us, members of the grand family, are committing to doing what we can, the best way that we can, so that we can continue to be prosperous, healthy, safe, strong, and so deeply in love with each other. And so it is with that energy and with that sentiment that we do cast this circle around our space and around our tradition and around our world, making this place right for the work that we will do, making this place right for our ancestors and our gods, and for the love that we share for each other. The circle is cast. So mote it be.
So mote it be.
So mote it be.
I almost got me bad.
Oh. Goodness.
All right, so I think we might log off for a few minutes until we get while we get ready for Antimony and Alyssa, and then
Absolutely.
Got y'all, okay?
All right, sounds good. Can you? Oh yeah, you can still hear me. I
What
love
time
you,
are they coming in?
Sending.
What time are we still doing it that at 4? Then
Is
about
that's
3.
the time, right?
Yeah, that's the time.
Well, we can do it at 4. Right? Do it at 4.
Oh, nice.
4. Do it at 4.
4. Yep.
4.
Okay.
All right. Love you guys.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you guys. Love you so much. Whew.
I'll try to make it
That
back by
was
4.
amazing. Amazing, y'all. Oh my goodness. I have so much energy right now. I'm so glad that everybody is here and able to join us, and I'm so happy that Phoenix asked me to do this for him, this online part, because I was heartbroken that I wasn't going to be able to be there. So yeah, so everybody, you have about 50 minutes until the return of Phoenix et al. For Right Reverend Alyssa and Reverend Antimony's workshop on how you can heal yourself. Thank you guys. I'm gonna pause the. Bye, Gretchen. We'll see you in a little bit. Thank you so much for your awesome workshop too. So yeah, we have about 50 minutes left, and I am gonna let's see. I'm gonna pause recording so that we save a little bit of cloud space. Pause. I don't know if I can pause the live stream. Probably not. I don't know. What do you guys think? Should we just keep rolling on this live stream, or does anybody have any comments, questions that they want answered or anything like that? How can we keep this energy flowing for 50 more minutes? What do you think? The mics are open, guys.
I will hold space for the 50 minutes.
Okay.
I will light one of my fabulous candles.
Yes. I have a candle lit. It's actually a dual candle that my mom got me for Yule in December, which was super awesome of her.
Because I have candles.
You have lots of candles, woman. You showed me that box the other day. I was so happy for you. I'm like, yes, candles.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, it was like one of my gifts to myself.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, absolutely.
Self-care, because what it does, it's sending the universe the message that money comes easily and freely to me.
That is correct. Correctamundo.
So by spending little bits of money, it's like, okay, it's gonna flow.
That is correct. Oh man, I might have to actually get up and turn on my fan. 1 second, you guys. I will be right back.
Okay.
Who am I gonna put? 1 second, I gotta scooch this back. And then go see what is wrong with my fan. So, what does everybody think about the online lustration experience so far? Between this lustration and the last lustration that we had in the springtime. Feel free to open your mics. Whoopsie. My mouse is doing weird things. What are you doing, little mouse? Okay, there we go.
Okay, Liz.
So, yes.
Put your energy into the candle.
Yes, absolutely. There. That's nice, isn't it?
Welcome, Susan.
Hi, Susan. It's great to see you. I'm so glad you could join us. I need to just...
I'm sneaking in. I'm at work.
Oh, sneaky, sneaky.
Okay.
We won't say anything to your bosses. Don't worry. I don't know where you work, so I couldn't even if I wanted to.
Okay, so
Emerald is here from work too. Oh wait, she had to leave apparently.
okay.
Yes, dear. Elizabeth, go ahead.
So I'm it will be hidden. Even if he hears anything, he won't hear anything.
What? Who?
Your boss.
Oh, yes. So.
I can mute you guys. I can't mute myself.
Oh, you want me to mute you? I can do that.
No, I can mute. They can hear me talking to you.
Oh, well, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So you can
you can type in the chat room. There's a chat room available. But then they'll hear you typing. I don't know if you work like at a computer all day or not. Oh, I'm just so glad that everybody's here. Is anybody else okay? So let's have some real talk time. Not to like, bring the energy super down or anything, but who else is having a really hard time with all of this, like no touching anybody else, no getting close to anybody? Me, okay? I will be the first one to admit it. Like Reverend Phoenix's words were like super on point. And I think that he's absolutely correct that getting everybody together is the most the best idea. I mean, maybe not for immunocompromised folks or older folks like Reverend Gretchen. I mean, she is 70, she said, I think. So like her doing this from a distance was the smart thing to do. Let's see. Devin says, I'm used to it, but I do miss physically being at events. Yeah. I mean, I had plans to go to the Philippines this year. But that was who did what now? Okay. Oh, how did I? Okay, there we go. But anyway, what was I saying? I can't remember. My brain had a bloop, just poof, gone. I don't know what I was saying before. But anyway, I'm so glad that we get to do this online. We don't have to go anywhere. It's free. Well, I mean, we still have internet and electric bill and all that stuff, but basically no extra cost, which is really. Oh yes, I was going to the Philippines this year to initiate Apu Adman and meet all of the amazing people out there. And it was going to be, oops, exit full screen. How do I do this? Okay, there we are again. I'm front and center now. All right, I guess I can do, let's see, gallery view. That way we can see everybody. So, Stacy, you just finished your roadmap, your life map in your third degree studies. How did that go? You want to talk about that a little bit? I don't mean to like put you on the spot, but I kind of do because we need something to talk about.
At first, it took me a long time to get started because it was just like so intimidating to go through your entire life step by step.
Yep.
But once you start going on it and you start breaking it down and starting from the beginning, of course, easiest way to do it, it just kind of naturally flows. It's a lot of soul searching. It's a lot of going inside of yourself, finding out who you truly are. But it's an amazing experience.
That's great. I am so proud of you.
Thank you.
So proud of you for doing that. And I know that it took a really long time for me to finish my second degree. It took me 6 years. But I like to tell people, don't rush it, because the goddess has a plan for you. And the goddess takes you step by step, every step of the way. She's got that plan in mind. So, I mean, Phoenix said before that, he was kind of getting a little bit, what was the word? Willful with the universe? Is that the phrase he used? But I mean, we kind of can. We just have to be prepared to learn the lesson a little bit faster. If we're like, hey, universe, can you speed this up a little bit? So do that wisely.
Okay.
I suppose. Oh, what is that? Oh, yes. Oh, explain that. Yes.
Okay, so in a candle with a needle, I put lustration of the living.
Yep.
And I also put on a little bit of original chapstick, which is, it's my father's scent. I showed it to my sister. She says, I said, smell this. She says, it smells like daddy. So bring little like ancestral
Aww,
energy. Yeah.
that's so sweet.
I've dressed it with coconut oil and taking a pinch of, and these herbs were from North Carolina Lustration, and Lady Wendy
Yes.
gave them to me, and she made a comment. It's like, they're gonna leak.
They're gonna leak from the bag. Yeah, I still have one of the most awesome things I have from her is the little sachet that she made for the lustration in North Carolina. And I still have mine. It's in my car. And I even got a new car, and I made sure that was one of the things that I absolutely took out with me was that sachet, and it sits underneath my seat, like on the side where nobody's gonna accidentally like help me clean out my car and toss it out, because I tell them it's there and they're not moving that, because that's a very important sachet to me. I miss Lady Wendy so much.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to really get to know her, but she was so excited on the hug in North Carolina is that she went without her cane.
Yep.
And because I'd been taking care of my 90-year-old mom, it's like, I didn't even ask permission. I just like stabilized her hips. I didn't know why she had the cane, but it's just like, I just like,
you just stepped into keep after my elders mode.
Right. It's like, and that's one of the things I do. Like, and she was grateful for it. She says, I just got excited and left.
Uh-huh.
without it. But she knew that she was safe because
Mhm.
there was peoples around. Yeah.
Right. Oh yeah. Like none of us were gonna let her like go anywhere alone, you know.
Right. Like at in Danville, I kept on checking on Lady Crystal
Uh-huh.
and was walking with her in the graveyard. Yeah. So
Mhm.
I was there when she got the news
Mhm.
of the passing. So
Yeah, absolutely.
okay. So I'm going to go get
Aw.
a dish.
A plate for your candle, and then you're gonna light that thing.
Actually, I yeah.
I might actually need to go get some lunch, but I don't know what I want to eat for lunch, and that's kind of sad. Well, actually, I think I have bagels here.
My
I can have
sister
bagels for lunch.
just brought me some like old things.
Old things?
Old things, yes. One of them are salt cellars.
Ooh, yes! Look at that cute little thing.
So, and since my altar is on top of a bookcase, so it's like 24 by 8.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, so this is my water. And
That
then
is so awesome. Yes. Yes, girl.
but I also have this old china.
I like that.
So
That
that's what.
yeah, that would work also for your incense. Like if you had like a cone or like a short stick, you could totally like prop that up on a candle. And you know, because that's what I do sometimes if I don't have like, I just find like an old plate and I just put a candle that has like a little bit of wax left in it, and I just poke a hole in the wax with the stick of the incense, because I don't really use cones or anything. I just use stick mostly. It's just easier. So I am so glad that everybody is here. I know I keep repeating that, but it's so true. Let me see here.
I got in trouble with my sergeant one time. I was leaving to stick incense all through the jail because I would stick them into the wall and forget that they were there.
You would stick them into the wall. Okay.
Okay.
Everybody focus on the candle. This is our lustration candle. Our online lustration candle that will hold this space for us and help us to have the energy to make it through the next 2 days without any problems at all. So mote it be. Oh yes, you have to bless your fabric. But be very careful about wafting it over because you don't want to set it on fire. That would be a very bad idea. Thank you, Elizabeth, for doing that. I really appreciate that. And that is such a cute little candle, like the little plate. I like the plate. I like plates. Oh, I know what I can share with you guys. 1 second. It's on my altar. Speaking of plates. 1 second. Let me get up and go get it.
So I have like a boxy stool thing. So
So, not this last time around, but the time that we were in Danville before, which was in 2014, I got my 3rd degree, and a couple of days later, we went to Under the Hill, and Under the Hill is, of course, where the family homes were. And so it was all wooded over. The houses aren't there anymore. Just the stones of the foundation are left. And we actually found dishware, like broken dishes from the house. So this is one of the dishes that they used, that the family used. And so I showed it to Lord Don, and I think he was like, "Yep, that looks familiar." And there were a couple of other pieces. Lady Wendy found one as well, and I found another one, this one. Um, and so this sits on my altar to actually represent the ancestors. It sits on my main altar, and then of course my ancestors have this altar up here. But yeah, this is really cool. So this is like a living piece of Karelian history, as we all are, because we're all making history just by being here and doing this now. So I'm gonna just set this up there because I don't feel like walking all the way over there again.
So Liz,
Yes,
you,
darling.
you need to feed your brain.
Yes, I need to feed my brain. Thank you for reminding me
And
to eat.
bring snacks.
Yes, I have bagels and cream cheese.
Even if it's a jar of peanut butter and a spoon.
I love you so much. You know me so well.
So
see, this is.
I used to do this to my son. So what's interesting is that my son and Liz were birthed within a week of each other.
Of each other, yes.
Yes, or maybe
yes.
like 10 days.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so when he would come home, and so he was just trying to figure out what was going on with him was a challenge. And so after school, I was like, or whenever he, kind of was melting, I would give him a peanut butter spoon. So just like let's fix your blood sugar.
Eat something, anything. And you and Stacy, okay, so let me just brag here for a minute. I have some of the best friends in the entire universe, and I am so grateful for these two women right the heck here. Okay. Stacy is my herald, and she walked into my life like 2 or 3 months ago now, and it's like, oh, by the way, you have the paladin meeting tomorrow, and don't forget about Chancellor's chat on Monday. Oh yeah, do you want to come to casual Karelian Fridays too? Oh yeah, don't forget, you said yesterday that you had a doctor's appointment today at such and such a time. I'm like, woman, are you stalking me or something? She's like, no, I just have a great memory and I write things down. And I'm like, wait a minute, whoa. Do you have a calendar for me? And she's like, yeah, kinda. And I'm like, that's it, you're my herald. Congratulations, you have a job. I have been waiting for a herald to come into my life for a good 6, 7, 8 years now. I have been praying to the goddess. I have been so patient, and I am so grateful that she is willing to put up with my crazy brain. And
she created your crazy brain.
What now?
She created your crazy brain.
No, she didn't create it at all. She amplifies the good parts about my crazy brain. And she balances me out, kind of like you do, Elizabeth. These two are goddess sends, I swear.
The voice is on your shoulder.
Mm-hmm. The voice is on my shoulder, reminding me to eat. And Elizabeth is the water to my fire. Even though she's a Leo, I don't know how you're crazy water. Water Leo? Really? You never know what's going to happen at illustration.
I'm an Aquarius moon.
Oh, that explains a lot. Okay, but maybe it's Pisces that's air. I don't know. There's
Pisces,
one sign.
Pisces is water.
Okay, so
Aquarius is air.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. I knew it was one of the ones that you would think that was water because Aquarius, aqua, water. I get confused. I am
I know.
no good at those kinds of like correspondences. Even though I'm a third degree, I passed the test and I have books to look it up if I need to.
It's
Yep.
like you don't remember all of the advanced chakras.
Right. And that's
Except
what we have books for.
when I put on my moisturizer,
Mm-hmm.
I connect with the goddess,
Yep.
and like eyeliner is
Uh-huh.
connected. The eyeliner is connected to the goddess. And even if I don't put eyeliner on, I still, like when I'm just putting like on eye cream, I'm still like connecting with the goddess.
Mm-hmm.
Proud of myself.
Yeah, I do the same with incense. Let me show you, like, or not incense, but oil. This oil right here is the best smelling stuff in the universe. It's such like a deep, woodsy, earthy, masculine kind of. And I swear this smells exactly like an oil that I used to have. I don't think anybody makes it anymore. Called Romp in the Woods. And I loved that. And then I got this, and I'm not sure who gave me this. I can't remember. But you know, hopefully the next little bit of oil I get, which is coming soon, will smell similar to it. Crossing my fingers. I really want to get my jelly, but it's all the way over there and I don't feel like getting up again. All right, I'm going to check Facebook and see if anything is happening over there. Let's see. Oh, I have messages. Okay, that one I can go away. Mm-hmm. All right, this one.
So Liz, you're
Yes, dear.
Romp in the Woods. Do you know
Yes.
the manufacturer?
It was a lady whose name I cannot remember at the time, at like the present time, begin with a C. She worked out of Illinois, and it was like her private business that she just made oils and incense and all kinds of different apothecary like stuff.
Because what I think would do well with you is kind of like the woodsy with citrus, a little citrus to uplift you.
So one of my favorite scents is bergamot. And then another scent that I really like is vetiver.
Yes.
And I know I'm pronouncing that wrong, but I can't do the French accent, so.
Okay, now I know what you're talking about.
Uh-huh. Who's messaging me? So I just want to remind everybody again, if you want to friends request me on Facebook, just tell me that you're a Corellian. Like, send me a message first, because I won't accept you even if you aren't Corellian if you don't accept me if you don't write to me first, because I've had a lot of spam. Spam is bad. We try to eliminate spam, right? I can't hear you, Stace. If you're
All right, Liz, I'm gonna friend you. I just
absolutely
finished eating my little lunch, and I got an email from my boss. I'm gonna respond, but I'm gonna send you a message now and befriend you.
perfect. That would be great.
Sure. Let me go there now. Let me do it that way.
Let's see here. So, what does everybody think of Facebook's new layout? I know that's opening a can of worms. Look at that face that Stacy made. I was like, oh joy, the day before I have a giant event to hold.
I'm over here trying to work with 4 different pages, and it's just insane trying to find everything.
Word.
Like I couldn't find the Zoom connect, so it's like, and it was like getting close, and it's just like enough of family greetings. I want the Zoom.
Mm-hmm. Oops, I gotta kind of like tell everybody what we're doing right now.
So there's Mike Neal just posted at the core store.
Uh-huh.
Is having a for the members a 15% price reduction for all order sigil patches.
Ooh.
And the Tarot of Hecate is $50.
Yep, $50. I'm not sure if there's shipping on that. Eventually, I will have that deck. I want that deck so bad. Oh, Devin, the new layout is rolling out like by September. I think they're just, randomly sending a suggestion to change it over. And I was a silly person and changed it over because I thought that it was going to be better, but it was a mistake. It's okay. I make mistakes all the time. It just happens, and we're just, gonna roll along like a car going down the highway, basically. I know, right, Devin? I think it's gonna be my next gift to myself too. Fingers crossed, right? My favorite gift to myself so far, seriously though, has been these fairy lights. I could not speak enough good about these darn fairy lights. It's such a small thing, putting fairy lights above my bed, 66 feet of fairy lights back and forth across the top of my bed, on my ceiling, because I have a slanted ceiling, so it's kind of like sleeping in a tent because you have that like closeness of the ceiling. I don't know. I've always liked that. Ooh, you're still trying to learn your fairy oracle deck. Yes, that you've had for centuries, huh? Aren't you dating yourself there a little bit, bud? Hundreds of years. That's so cute. So, but yeah, I did that. I did those last week on Thursday for my birthday. And it took maybe like 10 or 15 minutes to figuring out, how I wanted them to sit. And then I had like extra that I didn't want to like extend any more up the ceiling. So I just like made them meander down this like retaining wall that separates my bedroom from the stairs that go down to the rest of my house. And I put like knickknacks and things on there that I use pretty often. So I made the lights like meander around the knickknacks and then around the wall a little bit and finally up and over the edge so that I can see them when I come up my stairs. It's so cute.
So for my birthday,
Uh-huh.
my daughter gave me
Aw,
a deck, and
that's so sweet.
and it's not like any other tarot deck. I mean, it's just like
Oh wow.
so it's like learning a different language.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's so I'm interested. And each of the decks is like an Irish story tale, like a folklore. So
Mm-hmm.
so it's not open, dedicate,
Right. Mm-hmm.
and use. So
Mm-hmm.
it's
Okay.
I like this one, just like just the position is like power pose. Just we need to stand in confidence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I just want to share that one. So.
Yep.
But for the moon, she's just hanging at my altar. It's so exciting to have like a actual setup altar, whereas before
I know.
it was
Susan, that's a good question. I am living in Pennsylvania, in a city called Allentown. I cannot remember where you live, but it's great to see you again. And yes, you have been out of touch, but so have I. I mean, the phone works both ways, you know. And unfortunately, I have ADHD, so it's like if I don't talk to people on the regular, my brain kind of is like, "Oh, they're in a box. They don't really exist," which is awful. I feel so bad every time like people are like, "Oh my God, Liz, it's been like 5 years." And I'm like, "Oh my God, I haven't even thought about you in like 3 years. What the heck happened?"
but it's a two-way street.
What?
It's a two-way.
Exactly. It's a two-way. Exactly. So that's kind of like how I forgive myself. And you know, Emerald, who was here like a couple of hours ago, posted this great thing, like, you know, friends forgive, you know, the unintentional ghosting. You know, and it's like whenever I get back in touch with people, it feels like no time at all has passed. It's like my brain has now and not now. And I talk about this all the time. So, yeah, anyhow. So, yeah, Susan, where are you right now? Like are you I can't remember where you lived before either. Ah, my brain information falls out randomly. Hi Liz. Yes. Oh, goodness. So, the plan for posting the Zoom links is this evening after activities conclude, I will post the link for Reverend Moonraven's event workshop tomorrow, and that is happening at consulting my notes. I should have had this up before I said anything. One moment, please.
I can
Okay, Reverend.
I can run to my bathroom window.
Nope. You're good. 11 a.m. Eastern tomorrow, Saturday, August 22nd. He will be presenting The Lost Gods of Ethiopia, which is sure to be a fantastic event. And then after that, I will post the link for
you said that's at 11 o'clock tomorrow?
11 a.m. Eastern time. Yes, sir.
And who's giving that one?
Reverend Moonraven Juventus.
Moonraven. Okay.
Yeah, he was here a little bit earlier.
Oh, that was him. He left.
Yeah, that was him. Yep.
Okay, deep. Because it's the rest of his words looked like they were in Russian or something. I was like, oh my goodness,
that was Greek.
Oh, that was Greek. Okay.
Yes, that was Greek. Yeah.
Greek. Okay.
Yeah, because
I've been to Greece, but I've been to Russia.
Yeah, he's I think he is into the Hellenic and Greek gods, so that's why he posts a lot of things in Greek.
Creek. Okay.
Mhm.
It's funny because tomorrow in Virginia, this is the first time since the COVID they've had a gun show, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna go to the gun show and
Oh,
look around in the morning because they always have everything. They have, I mean, in Virginia it's different because you may have llamas there, you may have outdoors type stuff. I mean, you may have a Wiccan booth, you may have people making belts and
Right.
crafts and art. So it's when you say gun show, it's not really just like a gun show. It's everything. So I hadn't been to one in a couple of years, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna go get there first thing in the morning at 9. So maybe by 11, I can in and out, put my mask on. So I'll take my iPad so that I can catch him at 11.
And it's going to be recorded.
Oh, it's gonna be recorded.
Yeah, everything is being recorded this weekend except for like these little breakout sessions when we're just hanging out. And I'm just keeping the live stream running because I don't want to have to make another link.
Right. Oh yeah.
If I stop the live stream and I can't get it working again. So we're not going to experiment with that today.
Oh right. Okay, that's good. That's good. Yeah, I got to go to
added
DC.
you on Facebook, by the way.
Oh, did you add? Okay, I'll go back on that later. Thank you.
Thank you for the ad. I appreciate that.
Yes, I'm cheating here. I'm looking at my work computer, and I'm going to go in the back so I can listen to the thing at 4:00, and hopefully no one pings me for email. I'll just come up here, peep in later, so I can, pay attention.
That would be fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. And don't you tell anybody I work with, okay? I'm just.
I don't know where you work, honey. No, come out of me. Where are you from?
I was born in Miami. I moved to Georgia when I was 4. So I grew up in Georgia, went to school down there and everything. And then I worked for the government. So I've been in the government 20 years.
Wow.
And I work in DC, but I live in Virginia. Of course, Virginia has a rich history with Wiccan. And and we have a lot of, I'm a chaplain also with the government. So we have a lot of a different, how can I say, because everybody like to push that Jesus and Bible down your belt and all that stuff. I'm like, what about other people? What about other religions? Because I'm in the building downtown, and I see the Tricurta tattooed on the back of his neck. I'm saying, okay, so we got Wiccan here. So what about a holistic approach to this? And so I got involved with the chaplaincy so that when we have something that is centric to us, we won't have to necessarily have somebody saying, well, Jesus and all this stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yeah, we definitely need more pagan chaplains. I'm so proud of you for doing that.
Yes, thank you.
I know that Pete Pathfinder Davis of the Aquarian Tabernacle Church many years ago, like in the 70s even, was very involved in getting the pagan chaplaincy together, and also oh gosh, what is his name? I'm having a blank. Reverend Patrick McCullum.
Okay.
He also got the pagan chaplaincy up and going, which is really significant and something that we definitely need, because we do definitely have people who are in need of a chaplain. Because they're either in the military or they're in jail.
Yep.
We are not immune to jail.
Right. Oh my goodness. Yes. Yep.
So
there's so much going on, and it's interesting because I'm doing since the COVID with teleworking, I have these containers and in my condos, very small house when I relocated.
Your voice there, Teddy, is going in and out.
So I'm like, let me go through these containers and this, So I went through and I saw this through just to reminisce, and there it was, United States Army, and right on the top of the right. Oh, you lost me? You lost me?
You're back now. You're back now, Teddy.
I'm back. Am I there? No?
Yep.
Okay. And I look at forms, on the top I'm like, oh my goodness, I didn't see this, in 89, but I saw it live and bright the other day. I was like, okay, it was hidden in
Wow.
plain sight. Yeah, it's right there. Witch's Trinity. I'm like, wow.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And Susan remarks in the chat room that she works at a naval station in Mayport, and they have Wiccan services there. That's awesome. I'm really glad to hear that. And I think it helps to ensure that people recognize us, and that they are not so afraid of us. Because there's a lot of misinformation out there. And that's what I like about the Corellian tradition. We're upfront, we're honest, and we give information to people who want it. It's not like something that we're pressing on people just, out of the blue. We're very forthright if you ask,
Right.
but really only if you ask, or like if we get into a conversation or something,
Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, who is looking forward to Lady Alyssa and Reverend Antimony's workshop in about 10 minutes? Me. I can't wait.
Uh-oh. Let me make sure I
Let me see here. I wish I could post a photo.
Okay.
Enter.
Liz,
Yes, darling.
how is your hydration level today?
It is doing okay. I have drank half of this bottle of juice so far, and I am trying to be like, oh, tend to take a drink of water or drink juice stuff.
Okay. Because when you hydrate, your brain works better.
It really does. I totally agree. I raised my hand, but no. Devin, if you come on camera. No pressure, though. Honestly, you can stay off camera if you want to.
But we miss his face.
Yes, we do miss his face. He's so beautiful. Beautiful souls. For the love of the goddess and all that is holy. Let's see here. All right, so let's see here. I have to go in and find this, discard that post, find this live stream. And then I have to figure out a way to post the... I guess you can't post pictures, photos to a live thing going on, which is weird. I guess I can just show off for a couple of seconds the graphic that I made for Lady Alyssa and Reverend Antimony's workshop. I actually did this for all of the workshops. Go to the hub and look at them. They're beautiful, and I spent a lot of time on them.
Will a split screen work?
A shared screen will. Hold on just a second. I'm trying. Let's see here. I have to actually start get into the thing first. Hold on. Dun, 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 dun. And I should have thought of doing this for Reverend Gretchen's too, but I was silly and I didn't do that because I was trying just to get us back on track a little. But it's quite all right. We're having fun, right? Let's see here. Photos. Bing! Isn't that so beautiful? I love it.
What is it?
It's a graphic that I made for the workshop.
Oh, I see it.
One of them. Yeah.
Looks good.
Thank you. I spent lots of time doing these, like 3 days. And like Phoenix was like, "Holy crap, Liz, I'm so here for this." And that was like feather in my cap moment, let me tell you what. Oh, I noticed I forgot to do one. Okay, never mind. It's of no consequence now. Like it's all done. So I'm not even gonna comment because nobody notices that there's something that's not there. Oh goodness. So yeah. Let me see if I can. Let's see. Resize this window. Rename unpin video, spotlight video. Nope. Okay. No biggie. But yeah, so now everybody knows what's coming up next. Right, Reverend Alyssa Maxon Kemp and Reverend Antimony Corvidae. Oh my goodness, words. Reverend Antimony Corvidae, both licensed massage therapists, team up to teach you about the body's ability to heal itself and give practical tips and meditations for self-healing and self-care. This workshop involves guided myofascial release session by Reverend Antimony, who is certified in myofascial release, and a guided biodynamic craniosacral self-healing meditation by Reverend Alyssa, who is a certified biodynamic craniosacral practitioner. And both of these ladies are so pro at what they do. Let me tell you what. Yay! Hi, Melanie. I'm glad to see you on Facebook. So, yay. Let's see. I don't know who this person is. Chrissy Luna from New York, New York. I'm not sure who you are, so if you friended me, and I know you're friends with Lord Don, but you need to send me a message. So please do that if you are watching and just sent me a message or sent me a Facebook request without messaging first. I'm so sorry. Let's see. Okay, let's see who else. So let's see. I can stop that for a minute or two. So yeah.
I am so excited. I don't know if it's just like the energy of the room, but it's like this is doing a back stitch by hand. I was able to do it like straight.
Yes, I'm so proud of you.
And it's just like, and so I needed a stole, so I ordered like 5 yards of 60-inch wide material.
Yay! That's so much stole material though. Like seriously, you can make like 5 stoles out of that.
Oh yeah. And so when I'm doing the bottom, this is the bottom, it's like, may I always be grounded.
Oh yes, groundedness is so important. Are you gonna put any stones in yours?
Yes, I am.
Yay, good.
I'm in the back of the neck. I'm going to be putting in a blue lace agate for communication. And so if you know of anyone who needs a stool for those studying on their first degree,
right?
And I would be blessed to send it to them.
Absolutely.
I am making one for Angel, who's in Scotland.
Oh, yay! I remember you telling me about that yesterday. You know, it's Devin says that it's hard for him to find green fabric in his area. Devin, how long away are you from finishing your first degree? You might not even need a green stole because honestly, that's only worn if you're out of court. And I don't know many people who've made a green stole, to be honest. Especially if they're studying towards first degree. It would be, I believe, do we still do the white stoles? I have to look in the book and see if we still do white stoles for people studying.
When I was at
Reverend Don is coming. Oh my goodness.
Perfect timing.
I'm so excited.
So at Sacred Sea Temple, I just had a white robe.
Right.
Yeah.
Hi, Reverend Dawn. How are you doing today?
Hello, I'm very good, thank you. How is
Great. It is going smashingly after a honestly hiccupy, very bumpy road start. But
very good.
We are back on track now and having a great time. Just waiting
Excellent.
for. Oh, it's after 4 o'clock already. Oh dear, I did not notice how that time just flew. But we are just waiting for Buffalo folks to log back in, and then we will go forward with the aforementioned events,
Very good.
workshops. Yes, very good. How is Jacksonville this afternoon, evening?
It's good. It's a little cooler than it's been, which is welcome.
Yes, I can only imagine. Hopefully,
In California, it's a little bit cooler just because unfortunately the smoke has covered,
Yeah.
has created
Yeah.
a buffer. But it's touch and go. But Sacramento is in between the fire.
Right. Yep. Yeah. I hope that the storms don't interfere with the move or anything, because I know that you're moving this weekend. Isn't that right, Lord Don?
The full move is not this weekend, but it's an ongoing process.
Oh, okay. So it's like
Yeah.
happening bit by bit. I see.
Yeah.
Well, I hope it doesn't interfere with whatever you guys have decided to move, because
Thank
that
you.
would just drive me batty. Oh, goodness. So yeah, we've just been chatting about lustration and about ancestors, and I showed everybody the beautiful piece of plate that I had found 6 years ago at the Under the Hill. Huge. Oh, somebody else is wanting to be let in. Let's see here. Tim Strobe.
Ah,
Who this is. So yeah.
welcome, Tim.
Yes, he is connecting to audio. Hello, Tim. Welcome. And so Lord Don, what is your favorite part about lustration?
About the weekend would be seeing everyone and getting to talk to them.
I agree.
always
That's
enjoy
my
that.
favorite part too. Hello, Tim.
Hello, Tim. Good to see you.
Hello, good to see all of you too.
Good to meet you. Okay, Teddy says from his iPad, hi Dawn. Ask about the colored stoles.
Oh,
okay.
So is there a question about stoles?
Yes. So I was wondering, so Devin is finding it hard to find green fabric in his area, and he is working on his first degree on the 7th lesson. So I was kind of saying, you know, I would, if I were him, I would hold off on the green stole because he's going to have a purple one as soon as he finishes and gets accepted into the first degree. So, and I was wondering, don't postulants, people who are studying for first degree, wear the white stole now, or is that something that
if they've made a formal dedication, yes. But you know, it varies from temple to temple because some people don't want to do a separate white stole for just that 1 year period.
Right. Yeah. Especially
they're not going anywhere.
Exactly. Yeah.
So green is also acceptable for a dedicant.
Right.
But you know, a lot of people just wait for first degree, and unless you're in a place where you're using the state robes regularly, it's not an issue.
Right. That's what I thought. Thank you for that confirmation. I really appreciate that.
Now, if you're in a live temple where people are, well, in other times where people are meeting regularly, there's more pressure to have the green stole than there might be otherwise.
Right.
And of course, everyone should do what they feel they wish to do.
Absolutely. So it appears we have Phoenix and crew. Yay.
Yay.
Yay. And they're on mute, but that's okay, because they will unmute soon. Video appearing, perhaps? There.
And there we are. And I see Maple Jean.
Yes, I know. She's been so cute. You guys are on mute,
Looking
by the
straight
way.
past Phoenix like he's not there. I apologize.
Oh,
What can I say? I immediately noticed.
of course.
All right,
Babies.
folks. Thank you so much for coming back and joining us for some more of our regional lustration programming. At this time, we do have Right Reverend Lady Alyssa and Reverend Antimony, and they're going to join forces on a specialty that they have in common. Right? So if you think about like a family business, let's hear what these two massage therapists have to say about healing and self-care and taking and being good to ourselves. Do that. Yeah.
Do that.
Do that and go.
Hi, everyone.
Hello. I hope you can hear us with these things on. Is it? Can you all hear us?
Yeah, the sound is good.
Okay.
Yeah, you're coming through loud and clear.
Great. Okay. So to introduce us, I'm Reverend Alyssa. So I've been a massage therapist, a licensed massage therapist for 11 years. You've got a lot of time on me. I have a few different specialties. I like to do a lot of deep tissue, and I'm certified in something called biodynamic craniosacral, which we're going to be talking a little bit about today. That's my self-care angle. And Reverend Antimony, also Christina. I have been a licensed massage therapist for 3 years now. And actually, my specialty is kind of the opposite spectrum of Alyssa, where she does deep tissue. I do something called myofascial release, which is actually a much softer, gentler technique than really digging in. So I will be. Nothing's wrong with any of the things that we do. So the self-care that I'm teaching you today is how to do some self-care in myofascial stretches. Cool. And I will be leading you in. So biodynamic craniosacral is actually a really cool field. It's primarily energetic, and it taps into the body's ability to heal itself, which is what we're talking about here. So I'm going to be leading a self-healing meditation based on the principles of biodynamic craniosacral therapy. That sounds amazing. Yeah, I'm actually really excited for that. So, first question is, what is self-care? What is self-care? Self-care can mean a lot of things. Like we were saying earlier when we talked to each other, but self-care can be reading a book, going out, favorite meal, exercising. Self-care can be going out to the middle of the woods and screaming at the top of your lungs. Self-care is very individualized. It's very specific to an individual person. So for me, my self-care, since I'm also a martial artist, is when I'm having a bad day, sometimes I like to go into my basement and hit the heavy bag because it helps me get out some of my frustrations. For other people, they might not like to do that. That might be a little bit too aggressive. Yep. And when we're talking about self-care, it's super important to remember. So we have our body. We all have a body. We love our bodies. So self-care is not just about the physical body, though it is, but we have to remember that our bodies are a system. So we have the physical body, our system of bones, muscles, and tissues, organs, and then we have the energetic body. That's our systems that we learn about in all of our studies. That's the circuit system. Indoor play. That's the meridian system.
Here.
So that's the energetic system, which is your system of meridians, your system of channels, and then there's your emotional system. That's your feelings, your whole body, and these all work off of each other. So self-care touches on all of these things, and all of these things affect how you care for yourself. Mm-hmm. And self-care is also not just the physical acts that we do or how we feel, but it's also the thoughts that we think. Because if you think about it, the wisdom of the soul and the wisdom of the energetic body is present within every single cell within the physical form itself. So the things that we think, that wisdom are each of our cells, hello little people, that wisdom is listening into our subconscious mind, to our conscious thoughts. So the things that we think, our body will then reproduce. So there is, have you ever read Dr. Joe Dispenza's Becoming Supernatural? So this is a really good book which covers self-care using your own thoughts and your own energy to change your life. He essentially breaks down magic in the way of like quantum physics and science, which is really cool. So I think all of you might enjoy it. And one of the things that he talks about is the biofeedback loop, that when we start having certain thoughts, say, like maybe you have a bad day, maybe just something crosses your mind that reminds you of something, you get hormones that get released. You have a chemical reaction in your body, which causes emotions. And then the emotions trigger more of these same thoughts, which trigger more chemicals, which trigger more, and you see it's this whole feedback loop. So every single part of the body, whether you're talking physical, mental, emotional, your spiritual health, any of that, the energetic, all of it is very, very connected. So by caring for one, we are actually branching out and caring for all of that as well.
And it reminds me of something that I learned, something that's a principle of craniosacral. Something that's a principle of craniosacral is that our nervous system actually has two different modes. We call it the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic is your fight or flight. That is your stress. And
fighting or running away.
Yeah.
And there's also the freeze.
Yes.
Like the freeze mechanism, which you'll see like rabbits do, where they just,
yep.
Because they think if they freeze, they'll be okay. The predators won't see them.
Yep. So a big problem with our modern lives is that we do not do enough self-care. We do not do enough self-care. So what happens is our bodies end up being trapped in this fight or flight sympathetic nervous system reflex. And we have no way to break that cycle. So there's a lot of things that break that cycle, and that is self-care. And that's a lot of things that we as pagans and witches do a lot. Meditation is a great one that puts you in a parasympathetic state. And from a parasympathetic state, that is how we heal ourselves. We tap into that parasympathetic nervous system, and we allow that to heal us.
Christina, can you do name that book and the author again?
Yeah, the book, so Kai asked me to name the book and the author again. The book is Becoming Supernatural by Dr. Joe Dispenza. I'm not sure if you heard that.
You might want to come closer to the computer.
Okay. I'll come up here a little bit. All right, so.
There we go.
Well, now they're leaving.
They'll be back.
So, do you mind closing the door? No. All right, so, cool. Well, now we'll go back here because there's a seat. So the book is Becoming Supernatural by Dr. Joe Dispenza. That's the title of that book. So as Alyssa is talking about the craniosacral, that's it. The craniosacral therapy that she does, that's actually very, very similar to the myofascial release that I do. They both very much take into account the sympathetic nervous system, the parasympathetic nervous system, getting the body out of that constant fight, flight, freeze that we are always in. We are human. Being human is very difficult. Being human is very stressful. We have jobs that are like, hey, you broke your leg? Well, we still expect you to be at work on Monday. Just, you got to be wearing a cast, whatever. Like, we do not get time, whether it's from injury, trauma, accident, childbirth, like what have you. We do not have time to take care of ourselves because we live in a society that is focused more on production than it is about feeling good and being able to be creative and produce from a place of wholeness and health. So, hey, welcome back.
So, yeah, so both the MFR and the craniosacral, the more you talk about craniosacral, the more I'm like, oh yeah, no, that's exactly like MFR. They both touch on, like I mentioned, getting us back into homeostasis, getting us out of that cortisol-ridden state of constant stress so that we can release the traumas and release the tensions so that we can actually heal, which is something we don't have time to do because society won't let us.
All completely accurate. And it goes back to the nervous system, and it's an unfortunate symptom of modern life that nobody takes the time to slow down and care for themselves.
Yeah, because there is also this intrinsic sense in our society that you do not have value if you are not producing, which is an extremely toxic feeling and thought in and of itself. So I actually want to take a moment to challenge everybody right now to see if you have that thought within you just from being programmed in society. When you take time to rest, when you take time to take care of yourself, do you feel guilty about it? Examine that thought and that feeling and see the source. Is the source because society says you should be doing something more, you should be producing, you should be working, you should be active, you should be this, you should be that? Are you pushing yourself to breaking point? Are you pushing yourself to failure all the time before you rest? Those are some things to think about, because if we can recognize the different steps before we hit that failure point, before we hit, in exercising, they call it like repping to failure. So you rep out so many things that you physically cannot do it anymore. It's not failing because, you failed per se, it's failing because you physically just can't. So that's what I mean by, from figuring out the steps to your own failure. Can you see what those steps are and recognize them so that you don't push into the extreme point? Can you recognize that you're getting there so that you then can be like, wait, hold on, I need to take a self-care day. I need to take a self-care afternoon, just an hour, something like that. So that is a little thing I want you all to think about. Start recognizing your own patterns, start recognizing your own steps to crisis so that you don't have to get there before you take care of yourself.
I think what it really comes down to, and we as magical people know this a lot, it's belief creates reality, and we can create our own reality. We can heal ourselves, and there's people who say that they have healed their cancers. There are people who say they've healed previous injuries, people who have come back from paralysis, and a lot of it comes down to not just belief, but being connected to your body, connected to yourself, and being able to put in the time to really say, I'm going to focus on me and what I'm doing. And I think that just from that mind shift that Christina was talking about, from shifting to, I deserve this care. I'm a person, I'm a whole being, I'm an energetic being, I'm a child of the universe, and I deserve to be full, complete, and healthy and healed. And I think once you get that mind shift to where self-care is a necessary component of being a person and not, just something that lazy people do, then it really has an effect on your whole wellness and your whole being.
And to jump off of that point too, the shift in the mindset does not need to be some grandiose adventure or event or anything like that. It is literally as small as taking 5 minutes a day to sit and do meditative breathing, or take 5 minutes a day to sit and write down a few things that you're grateful for. When you start doing things, it's called, I've heard it termed The Slight Edge. That's another really good book that I recommend anybody read. The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. It talks about the little things that you can do every day that seem inconsequential. They seem so easy to do, but they also seem so easy not to do. It's just the things that take 5 minutes a day that really build the healthy habits into your life, no matter what your goals are. If your goals are to live a healthier life, if your goals are to be more successful, if your goals are to have better relationships with your friends or family, it's building these little healthy habits into your life every day, because it's going to start like this. And at first, you're not going to see a lot, but with compound interest over time, all of a sudden you went from here, and it's going to seem like when you get here, overnight it took off. But really, it's building into your day. So everyone has 5 minutes. Everyone has probably 5 minutes that we could be less on social media, less on our phones, less watching TV. 5 minutes, try and see if you can incorporate a self-care practice of some kind. If it's just sitting on your back porch and enjoying watching nature and getting away from tech for a little bit. If it's reading 10 pages of a good book every day. If it's just meditating, building a meditation practice back into your life.
And I know there's at least one person watching who's saying to yourself, I have so much effing crap to do every day. How can I take 5 minutes? It doesn't really matter. So, I have kids, I have a job, I have, a coven, I have a temple, I have all of these things to accomplish. And all I'm going to say to that is you get one of these. This is your body. This is your vehicle to move through life, that your soul has chosen to go. And if you don't take care of that, if you don't say, yes, I have children to take care of, I have a job, I have people who depend on me. Well, they depend on you being a healthy, whole human. Mm-hmm. And you can't be that without self-care. It's that important, I feel, to life and to living a productive life.
It really is. And also, because I know that there are probably some other people out there as well who are watching this and thinking of this, self-care is not selfish. Okay, I know that you all have your microphones off, and that's perfectly fine, but I want everyone to repeat with me whether your microphones are on or off. Self-care is not selfish. Thank you, everybody in the room. We are taught that taking time for ourselves and not producing is a selfish act. It's something that, it makes us lazy. It makes us not, good members of society. As Alyssa was saying, we only have one of these. And if we do not take care of the vehicle that we have, of this divine body that we are in, then we can't do the things that we want to do. We can't be with our families the way we want to be. We can't reach our goals or our work successes. So this is very important. And self-care should be at the top of the list. You cannot pour from an empty cup. I know we've all heard it before, but you literally cannot pour anything if there's nothing to give.
Yep. And it starts at home. It starts in your own body. It starts with meditation, chakras, exercise, anything that makes you feel like a whole and happy person. And that's the important thing, is that you're doing something that fulfills you and that you love. And that's the only way to get that relaxation and really care for yourself. And I think, so Christina and I are really, we work with the physical body on a daily basis. And both of us, I think, feel that touches on the energetic system and touches on the emotional system. We have a thing in massage called emotional release, where touching physical parts of the body will cause the release of stored up trauma, stored up karmic ties, which is probably a whole different class.
That is definitely a whole different class.
But that's what myofascial release does. That's what biodynamic craniosacral does. And so our intention today is to give you 2 different tool sets that you can use to say, I'm going to take 5 minutes and I'm going to do this for myself. Other than, all of the tools that you already have on hand, which is the things that you love.
Yep.
So, Christina.
All right. For mine, since I'm going to be doing this, I'm going to take this off, just you don't mind. All right. So what I would like to teach everybody is how to do self myofascial release stretching. Myofascial release is the most powerful yet most gentle hands-on healing technique that I have ever learned. It touches all of the different planes of existence from my experience, both serving people who are my clients and also being worked on. And I love teaching people how to do these self techniques because you can have some great releases. You can release trauma and tension and pain, and you can increase your range of motion as long as you follow 5 simple principles. The first principle is breathing. How many of us know how to breathe? What we're going to be doing, and as witches and pagans and magical folk, we know how to do this. Diaphragmatic breathing. We are doing the deep, deep belly breathing. So diaphragmatic breathing, the way I teach it, is inhaling through the nose and inhaling deep into the belly. It's okay to look a little fat when you do this because you want to stick your belly out as much as you can. You want to deep breathe and fill the bottom of your lungs first, and then fill the top of your lungs afterwards. And Alyssa is actually doing a fantastic job of demoing it for me, which means I don't have to try and breathe and talk at the same time. So diaphragmatic breathing, we breathe in through the nose, deep into the belly, belly first, and then chest. If you're new to diaphragmatic breathing, you can put your hands on the lower part of your rib cage and your chest, and you want your lower hand to come out first, and then your top hand. And then when you exhale, exhale through softly parted lips. And you want your belly to go in and then your chest to go in. So diaphragmatic breathing can, one of the things that it does when you focus on it, as Alyssa was mentioning before with your sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems, is that it actually activates the parasympathetic so that you are calm, you are coming into a state of relaxation, and you are exiting that fight, flight, freeze, chaos, cortisol-ridden mode that we live in a 24/7 basis. So the first principle is diaphragmatic breathing, because that really helps to put you in your body, which is the second principle, which is presence. For a practice like this, you want to be very, very aware of what sensations you are feeling in your body. We are very much grounding into our body for this. So this is kind of the opposite of what we do in a meditative practice, where we relax and then pull our consciousness up and up and up, and we kind of come out of the body. With this breathing, with each breath, you actually want to come in more. You want to really connect with this sacred vehicle. Connecting with this, loving this, very, very important. So with each breath in, pull yourself in and just do like a body scan. Kind of just look with your mind's eye, feel how your body feels, essentially. Acknowledge the sensations that you are having. Do you have any tightness? Do you have any tension? Is there any pain? Do you feel any pinching? Are you feeling completely and totally relaxed? So that is the second principle. So first is breathing. The second is presence. The third one is active elongation, also known as telescoping. This is, as the lovely Alyssa is demonstrating, one of the ways that I love to describe this is that, let's say you are, yes, you see how she is pulling. You can actually like almost see and feel the energy as she continues to telescope upwards. So Alyssa, do you mind if I borrow your arm for a second? So let's say we are trying to work on a shoulder impingement, and she can go up to here, and then she has pain. Traditional stretching might tell you, push through the pain, just try and stretch it out, you know, it'll be okay. What we actually want to do, if she has pain here, bring it back a little bit and then come outward. Because even if you're not pushing through the pain, you're still telescoping. It's like the telescope that is opening up on a pirate ship. You are actively elongating outwards, and that will still work the fascia and the connective tissue in the body, even though you're not trying to force your way through. Because with myofascial release, we never force. We allow the releases to happen naturally because the body needs to know that it's safe. So breathing, presence, and the telescoping. The fourth principle is time. 5 minutes, not 10, sorry, 5 minutes. You want to be holding any of these stretches for 5 minutes. This is literally how you can turn any stretch into a myofascial stretch, is by following these 5 principles. The reason that we hold for at least 5 minutes is because it takes between 90 to 120 seconds for the body to realize, oh, okay, this is good. This is all right. I'm not in danger. I'm safe. So it takes up to 2 minutes for the body to realize that it can start to let go of that fight, flight, freeze. So we need to hold for longer than that 2 minutes, because once we hold for longer than that, we can actually get the structural changes in the releases that we're looking for. So at least 5 minute hold. And then the fifth principle is softening. And you may find that when you do your own stretch practice, or even if you have a favorite body worker that you go to, sometimes you brace against a stretch because it just starts to get a little uncomfortable. Or you have someone working on you, maybe doing some deep tissue work, and you brace against it because you want to protect yourself. Softening is the act of consciously relaxing. It's going back to that meditative practice we all know of consciously relaxing body parts, breathing into the specific areas so that we can let go. So those are the 5 principles that you can use to turn any stretch into a myofascial stretch. Breathing, presence, active elongation, time, and softening. So, do you all want me to walk you through an example stretch, or shall I let Alyssa take the floor?
I have one thing
Yes.
to add about what you said. So for those who are not professionals in anatomy, fascia.
Oh yeah. The thing that I love to geek out about and that I did not.
Fascia is like saran wrap. That wraps your body over your muscles, under your skin. So it's like if you ever prepared raw chicken,
that's the analogy I love to use.
That membrane, that clear membrane that you can just rip off the chicken, that's your fascia. So if you think of it as this semi-solid thing that wraps your body that can hold trauma, it makes it so much easier to picture that with the telescoping, that if you take a piece of saran wrap and slowly allow it to stretch without ripping, you know, the longer you put that consistent pressure on it, the more it'll just soften and sort of spread out. And that's what we're trying to accomplish here.
And in the John F. Barnes myofascial approach, which is what I practice, we actually have a very interesting view on fascia, that there is no such thing as a bone, muscle, or organ. Everything in the body is made of fascia that is specialized and in various densities and in various textures.
If you really want to know about fascia, there's a cool YouTube video by a guy named Gil Headley, and it's called The Fuzz.
Oh yeah, and that one's a good one.
Yeah, and he really is an expert in fascia, and he explains it in very simple terms with simple definitions on why it is so important to the body and why it's so important to allow it to release. And this is one of the most fantastic ways I've ever seen to do it.
One of my favorite books too is also The Architecture of Human Living Fascia by Dr. Jean-Claude Gambarteau. He is a French hand surgeon who was very interested in learning more about how tendons moved in the tendon sheaths. And he actually took an electron microscope and he got videos and pictures of fascia in living tissue. Which is, okay, so the reason that we're geeking out about this right now is because up until, I don't know, maybe about 50 years ago or so, the fascia was thought about as simply a membrane that wrapped around your organs and wrapped around your muscles, and that was like it.
And a lot of Western doctors still feel that way.
Yep, and
unfortunately.
The problem is because our modern medical, just a whole system is based off of cadavers, that's all that they saw. The fascia is very much a living tissue, and you like, until you can actually see it moving, you won't understand, like doctors don't understand how it actually works. And I won't geek out about it because I'll wind up taking up all the time. So you go ahead with, I don't know if you wanna, cause you're now, so yeah.
So, craniosacral is actually super similar to myofascial release, except it is an energetic practice. And it goes back to the theory that we are forever connected to our embryonic state. So when you are an embryo forming in the womb, the first thing to form is a thing called the primitive streak. It's been photographed. It's literally just a line. Yeah. So that line, I believe, is your chakras, is your energetic system. And it forms first. It's the first thing of you that exists. And that streak becomes what's called the nodal cord, which then becomes your spine. The top of this streak is something called the lamina terminalis. Now, if you look at the structure of a brain, and I wish I'd brought my brain with me, but I did not, unfortunately. Inside the brain, there are two spaces that are sort of shaped like weird elongated C's. And those spaces are filled with craniosacral fluid. At the point of the C, the lamina terminalis. Underneath the lamina terminalis is the pituitary gland. So this lamina terminalis is your third eye. It is the embodiment of your third eye. It is the very first thing that forms with the primitive streak. From the start of your embryonic being, you were energetic. You were nothing but energy. You were nothing but knowing. And you were perfect. You were healthy. And as you formed how you were meant to be. And whether or not you formed, as we're all different. And some people form in the womb and, might be missing things. Some people form differently. However you were formed, you were perfect because that is how your energetic system formed you. And
Alyssa, I have a brain.
That just sounded fun. Thank you. That is not the part of the brain that I was talking about, but
okay.
I'll try to get some diagrams out on my Facebook page at some point.
Okay.
But where was I?
You're perfectly formed.
Okay.
Your energetic body formed you that way.
Okay. So as you are now, a whole human, maybe you have back problems, maybe you get headaches, migraines, maybe you have an autoimmune disorder. You have the ability to connect to yourself, your core self, your embryonic self. And that is the core of self-healing. And that is the core of what craniosacral healing tries to deliver. So I, as a practitioner, when I practice, I lay my hands on somebody. And that's traditionally what it is. It's a laying of hands. There's different holds. I might touch different parts of the body. That's a good one, Pat. And
oh, this is gonna be cold.
No.
Don't worry about it. It's not important. So I consider myself not as the healer. You are the healer. The person that I'm working on is healing themselves. I am the vehicle that allows that relaxation to connect you back to your primitive self. But you can do that for yourself. There is nothing stopping you from connecting with who you always were, who you are at your core. So I'm going to take you through a quick meditation that's sort of intended to connect you to your body, to your being, and to your embryonic self. So if everybody wants to find a really comfortable space, get comfortable, maybe close your eyes, and just as relaxed and comfortable as you can be is the best thing ever. So I'm going to give you a minute to do that, or a couple seconds. I want you to take some of those deep, diaphragmatic breaths we were talking about. The diaphragm is your solar plexus. It's also in a neurological feedback circuit with your crown chakra through the cranial nerves. So your crown chakra connects directly to diaphragmatic breathing. Doing that will really ramp up we call it in craniosacral the primary respiration. It's the living rhythm of the universe. And that is what we were connected to as embryos. That rhythm is what formed us, and we can reconnect to that rhythm and find it again, and it will heal you. So just take those nice deep breaths. And I really want you to picture what we call the midline. The midline goes from the top of your head straight down through your chakras, through your body. We all have a midline. It is the part at which your body can rotate around. 2 halves, front, back, side, side. So really focus on this axis that connects you to both the ground and the sky. And really picture that, connect with it. Allow yourself to feel that line all the way down through your chakras, through that lamina terminalis in the center of your brain, downward. And really just be with that feeling for a moment, that feeling of the primitive streak that you once were, that still exists within you. Once you really feel like you have a center on that midline, I want you to expand it so that that midline is your body. Now, your body, and a lot of us tend to make this mistake, your body is 3-dimensional. So I want you to really see your body as being 3-dimensional. I call it the inner zone. So really see your rib cage. You have ribs in the front, you have ribs in the back. Your rib cage holds all of your life force, all of your organs, a great amount of your chakras, a lot of fascia, a lot of interconnected systems are in there. And this is a big 3-dimensional space, and I want you to really feel it encompass you. And as you move out from your rib cage, you have 2 arms, and these arms are 3-dimensional. You have a 3-dimensional body that moves. And you can move your arms, you can move your fingers, you can feel the 3-dimensionalness of your being. That you are a whole person, you're not flat, you have air. Your air, as you take that breath in, I want you to really feel your lungs expand in the cage of your ribs. I want you to feel your diaphragm really expand. The diaphragm takes up a huge amount of your body. And as your diaphragm expands, you are massaging organs, you are increasing the blood flow to those organs. Your diaphragm provides a vital service to your body. Everything that we do, energetically, physically, is all connected. So every time you breathe in a diaphragmatic breath, you are healing your body. So I really want you to just feel large, feel 3-dimensional. You are the center of your being. And as you really feel this, expand it a little more. What is around you? You can feel it, you can touch it. An egg, we call it the aura, right? So think about when you were in the womb. What was that? That was the amnion. That was your bag of water. You lived in this. Feel that water around you. It's the water of life. You are the embryo. You were 3-dimensional then, and you are 3-dimensional now. You were growing then, you're still growing. Your fascia is ever growing. Your organs are ever growing. Your body's cells die and are replicated and reborn. Every, I think, 7 years, you are a new person. So just feel the power of your being, your 3-dimensional living self glowing within your own orb of aura, of waters. This is what we call zone B, feeling the waters of life around you. Zone B can be really important for connecting with yourself, connecting with your embryonic life. You can always go back to zone B. Your body will always pull you back. And the way to zone B is through yourself, through your midline, through your person. Now, the best way to expand past zone B is something that we almost never do when we're meditating. What is behind you? Focus on your back, what is behind you? What was behind you when you were in the womb? So that was, another bag of waters that you leaned on. And your spine, the strength of your back. But go further, the space behind you. And really just lean into that space and feel it expand, because the whole universe touches you around your aura, around your bubble. And a lot of us have to learn to deal with that. The universe is where our stress comes from. It's where life comes from, and we are universal beings. We have to move through that. We have to exist there. So how are we going to exist in this three-dimensional space as three-dimensional beings? Well, my body is the biggest space that I have, my whole body, my bones. There's so much space, there's so much water. And your aura, that's your personal space, your bubble. And then there's the space around you, behind you. And that's the world. And really allow yourself to rise through that. Allow your bubble to be surrounded by that. And some people, it helps to visualize looking down on your house from above, looking down on the rooms of your house from above, and see your living space, the space that you most often move in. And you can telescope it out further and see the street that you live on, the street that you might walk around when you go for your daily self-care walk. The tops of the trees, and really feel how you, while being a tiny part of this giant world, are still giant inside. You're three-dimensional being, that you never lose yourself. And I just want you to feel those zones and the intersection. We call that zone C, the outer zone. And really just connect with how you, as this three-dimensional being, move through this three-dimensional world. Knowing that you carry within you the seeds of your own health. And now we're going to go a bit further. The last zone is called zone D, and it's also called the horizon. And this is probably the most important thing. So move past your body, move past your street, and I want you to feel like someone has picked you up and you are rushing forward. And I want you to move freely with that rush. And before you is opening up the horizon. And whatever it is you see is going to be personal to you. Whatever horizon you see, it might be the horizon of the ocean, it might be a sunset, it might be the mountains touching the clouds, it might be snow on the treetops, it might be a city. It can be anything that you see, and allow yourself to see that. And it might be different every time you go there. And the horizon is both imminent and eternal. So you can dwell there, and yet you're always there. And this is a place of great healing, because your body, yourself, you are at your largest expansion, because that horizon is in you. That horizon is the place that you can find the most calm. It is the place where primary respiration dwells, where the land touches the sky and the water. And you can be with that for as long as you need to be in that space. And you can move between those zones freely, once you really, this is a meditation that grows from you. So you know the zones, the inner zone, inside of your body, zone A, which is your body, zone B, the waters around your body, zone C, the world around your body, zone D, the horizon inside of you and outside of you, the connection from body to world. And you have the unique ability to move through all of that and be you. And I want you to take in a deep breath and really breathe in that knowledge that you can exist in all of these spaces and be you. Now I want you to think of a physical ailment or pain that you often experience. And I just want you to have it in your mind and let it lead you to the zone that matters most for you. Allow yourself to fall into your pain. But that pain is you, and you can heal it, and you can let it go. So I'm being pulled to a zone B, a place of water, and you might be pulled to a different zone, and that's okay. And I don't want you to focus on the ailment. I want you to focus on the zone, focus on your body. Because your body is where healing will always take place. That healing is within you. So I want you to take another deep breath. Take a deep breath into the healing, into the space that you want to fill with light and love and healing. And you might see yourself as that embryo. You might feel as though you are curled and waiting to emerge. And that's okay. You are both the caterpillar and the butterfly. You can be both of those things at the same time. That's okay. And I really want you to picture that part of yourself that you would like to heal and see it in a three-dimensional way. Be inside of it. So if you're focusing on your shoulder, I want you to be the ant living in your shoulder. I want you to see the bones curving above your head and around you. See the veins pumping your blood. See the tissues moving as you move. You might see the defect, you might not. It doesn't matter. I just want you to dwell there and remind yourself that this is a part of your body, because we so often disconnect ourselves from our pains and our hurts. And they are a part of us. We cannot heal them by ignoring them. So I just want you to dwell there. And be okay with that. Be okay with wherever your body is at. And it's all good and pure, and it's you. And when you feel like you have dwelled there long enough, or if you're pulled to a different zone, allow yourself to be pulled on the wave of the respiration. Allow your breath to guide you. And when you're ready, take one last deep breath and allow yourself to come back into your physical being. Allow yourself to come back through the midline. Allow your eyes to open and be back in this physical plane. Take as long as you need. Thank you all. You are all the spark of life. You are the breath of life. You carry within you the key to your own self-love and self-healing. You can do this every day. You can do it in 5 minutes. You can do it in an hour. It takes as long as it needs to take. There is no time limit on your health. Love yourself and allow yourself to be with you. Love you guys.
Thank you so much, so very much, Lady Alyssa and Reverend Antimony. You both are so inspirational. Yeah, high five. Like, that's where it's at. Like, I was like, oh yeah, we should go back now. And I was like realizing that my head's back like this, like, and then I'm like, okay, time to go back. Come on, come on. Oh,
We are
goodness.
open for questions. If anybody has any questions,
you can unmute your mics and then take the floor with your question.
That's good. That's good. Sometimes this will put you to sleep. Corey said that he almost went to sleep, and it's almost a hibernation state that you will go into. And that is totally normal. A lot of people feel warmth, people see colors, people see lights. You might see all sorts of things, and that is your body's process, and it is normal.
So I saw something that I think was super interesting. Lord Don, you might remember several years ago, we were given a special grid by the ancestors. I saw that grid, except it was expanded. It was like not just the 3 crossovers, like the 3 crossworks that I had been working with. It was like 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. It was expanded. I don't know how to describe it actually. But that was kind of cool.
And you don't need an intention. You don't need to pinpoint a body space to do this. You know,
right.
It's about relaxing into the experience and allowing your body to guide you to what you need. And so is myofascial release. And you can combine those 2 things together. You can move while you do this. That's the big thing. You don't have to stay still. You can telescope. You can lay on the floor. You can lay on your side, your back. You can move however way your body wants you to move to release what you need to release.
So a fun thing about that, don't mind if I. So something about what she just said with how your body moves, you might find that your limb wants to move in a certain way, or your back wants to arch, or you kind of want to do a dance, or you want to curl up into a ball and get really tight. In myofascial release, we actually call this unwinding. It is the energy and it is the tension and the trauma and everything that is pent up in the cells of our body, and it's finally releasing and coming out. So don't be afraid of the movement. Don't try and halt the movement. Allow it to happen and allow it to flow, and you'll be surprised at what
in
healing.
craniosacrotherapy, we call that the primary respiration, and it's the movement of the universe. But you might feel that as a wave through your body. You might feel pulsing. I feel that a lot when I work on people, is pulsating of muscles or pulsing under your skin or the place you're trying to heal. It's just limitless. And it's you know, this is an emotional, energetic thing that we do to the physical body that affects the physical body, and it's going to have all sorts of physical repercussions. And it's you're really making yourself one, and that's what it's all about.
And when you come into that, especially if you have that first experience where you feel your body just wants to be all over the place, sometimes it might be a little scary.
Yeah.
Because you've never experienced this before.
Some people cry and don't know why they're crying. I get that a lot. I get that a lot.
I've gotten the crying. I myself, while being treated, have screamed before, actually.
Yeah.
I relived a trauma of a car accident that I was in. And that trauma was still stuck in my low back. It was finally released after a decade. But noises, if you feel like you want to make any sort of noises, if it's whimpering, if it's moaning, if it's groaning, if it's laughing, if it's crying, if it's screaming, you know, one of the things in myofascial release that we do is sometimes people just need to like grab onto a pillow. That might be the movement that their body needs to do. Or they might want to scream or cry into a pillow. Like, allow it, don't be afraid of it. Embrace it and trust that the wisdom of your energetic body, the wisdom of your physical body, the wisdom of your cells knows what it needs to do to let go. You just need to get the conscious mind out of the way.
Yep.
Sorry, does anyone have any actual questions? Like, we'll keep talking about this for forever if you let us.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have a 2-hour, as far as I'm aware, you guys have 2 hours, so we've only been at this for an hour.
Is anyone raising
So,
their hand? Anyone? Does anyone have
anyone. Let me put it
anything?
into
You
the
can ask
gallery.
anything about self-care, and it doesn't have to be on what we talked about. We'll take anything.
Okay, so I don't see anybody opening up in chat. Let's see.
That's fine. So the
So-
cool thing about, oh, sorry, you had a question?
Sorry. So this is just something that I was just thinking about. So if you can't, like, what's a good way to help yourself lean into that motion or that noise or whatever that you want to make? Am I making sense when I say that?
Okay, yeah. In myofascial release, one of the things that we say to ourselves, or what I will say to my clients when I'm working on them, is say to yourself, I let go. If you say, so important, I let go, it is a lot of times you might wind up being afraid to let go because then you're no longer in control, and the experience is new. The experience can be a little scary because you've never gone through it before. But if you realize when you say I let go and you give yourself over to the wisdom, exactly. Give yourself permission. Yep. You give yourself permission, you give yourself over to the wisdom of your higher spirit, of your higher self, the wisdom of your body. And at any time, also know that if it gets to be too much and you're just like, I don't want to do this anymore, you can tell yourself, okay, we're done. You can be done. That's enough. You don't have to continue riding the wave. If you get so far and that's all you want to do that day, that's perfectly fine. One of the ladies that I learned from, always her saying was, don't poke my primary lesion. And it's kind of a facetious thing, but it's true. You know, we all have that wound that's the core of all wounds. And it's like peeling layers off an onion. Nobody wants to just like rip through your chest and grab that thing that hurts you and say, okay, be gone with it. You know, it doesn't always work like that. So you need to be able to give yourself permission, and you don't have to poke your primary lesion to heal. You know, you poke your smaller lesions. Poke the secondary and the tertiary. And you know, if you never want to approach that primary lesion, that's okay too. You know, no one's gonna make you go there, and you don't have to make yourself go there. You know, you can do as much as you need to do to feel okay. Another thing that I have my clients say to themselves on the table, I have them repeat after me, is no matter what happened, I survived. Because sometimes when you do this sort of self-care practice, sometimes when you are working through the tensions and the traumas and the shadows, things might come up. Old memories might come up, old emotions might come up. If you remind yourself, no matter what happened, I survived. I'm here. I'm thriving. You give yourself more power. You give yourself more permission to do and to be and to heal. Oh. I'm sorry.
Mabel, do you want Pluto?
Uncle has a ball for you.
Do you want Pluto?
Special guest baby Mabel, everybody.
Do you want Pluto? Maybe. Do you want Pluto?
And nobody is more in touch with their body than a child. That's very true. Children are so incredibly in touch, and then, you know, we get programmed out of being in touch with ourselves. Yeah. And another thing that's cool about toddlers, if anyone's seen a toddler have a tantrum, they are learning how to deal with their emotions. They're learning how to turn their emotions on, turn their emotions off. We as adults have learned that. But the problem with that is we bury our emotions. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. And, you know, it's seen as unprofessional for an adult to throw a tantrum. And you don't have to throw a tantrum to feel or to cry or to allow that emotion to release your body. And that's something that's really important that I think that all adults can benefit from, is just to remember that you are allowed to feel. You are allowed to feel whatever you feel, and whatever you feel is valid. That is important. Your feelings are valid. And that is something that in this society we are told we have to button things up and we have to push things down, and we're not allowed to feel our feelings. We are told that from children, very tiny children her age. Don't cry. We're told suck it up, stiff up your lip. And I believe that's probably one of the biggest disservices that we do ourselves and our children and other stuff. Any other questions? Before this turns into the Baby Mabel show.
Anyone, any questions?
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead, dear.
So I have recently taken a national certification on a computer. So I did an hour and a half one day of constant mousing. And then the next day I turned around and did 4 hours of constant mousing.
Negative motion, that's what we call that.
So if I have it right, so it's like, I'm thinking it's like between the two puzzles.
Yeah.
And so it's like telescoping it out.
Yes, yeah. So if you imagine that, oh yes. So if you imagine that there is a string attached to your wrist and it is pulling outwards, you don't want to have your whole body going. What you want is the arm itself to move. And you are actively like pressing it away from your body, imagining that it is being pulled away from your body. And as Alyssa just mentioned, you can actually do some twisting in that as well. And then that's what you're gonna wanna hold for about 5 minutes. And then when you come out of something like that, come out of it slowly. That will help, even though you're not going any farther, it doesn't look like you're doing much. You are actively pressing outwards, being pulled outwards, and that will have a constant pull and stretch effect on that fascia, on that connective tissue, and that can help to relieve that pain and that tension that you are feeling in your elbow from being on the computer for so long. And at no point should you allow yourself to feel actual physical pain. Correct. Now, so there's something we call good hurt. Yes. And we all know that feeling. That's when someone like rubs your shoulder and you're like, oh God, but yes, stop it some more. It hurts so bad. But if you're doing this and you're telescoping and it feels like a knife or you're up at a 9 on the pain scale, pull it back, come back. Yup, pull it back. Allow yourself to lean into that 5 minutes. Give yourself that 5 minutes. Give yourself the time to feel that release. Is the super important thing. You know, if you think of your body exactly like that piece of meat that you're gonna cook for dinner, and if you stretch it with all of your strength, you're gonna rip it. You're gonna do some damage. Yep. If you take it and you just very slowly and patiently allow it to elongate, and then you can also get that hammer, but that's what massage therapists do, count it flat. So if you ever find yourself into pain, back out slightly. If you find yourself into slight uncomfortable but not actual hurt, that's okay. That's okay. Because you're getting into that good, like, ooh, so sore after a massage, but so good feeling. And as I mentioned before, with myofascial release, you never force. You never want to bully your way through. You allow the releases to happen themselves naturally. Don't poke your primary lesion. Don't poke the primary lesion. No. See, no. She says no. Don't poke it. Anyone else? Did that help, Elizabeth? Did that help?
About 2 minutes.
So I don't think anybody else has any other questions unless I am mistaken. Let me just double check the room here. Oh,
Hello.
you have a question, Tim?
I do
Go
have
ahead,
a.
honey.
Hi, Tim. Hi, Tim.
Hello, long time no see. But quite a number of years ago, we had a breath workshop here in Buffalo, And they taught us that style of breathing, the threefold breathing, belly, middle, upper. Called it wave breathing. You fill belly, middle, and then upper, and then one last gulp just to take it over the top, and then allow it to exhale naturally, and then start over again without stopping between the in-breath and the out-breath at all. No stopping, no hesitation, just constant breathing as fast as you can without, because you do this while lying down. So if you hyperventilate and pass out, you're already lying down.
Then you're already fine.
Right.
Gotcha.
And while doing, at the same time, doing energy work, I suppose you can do it on yourself at this time. But the advantage to having a partner doing energy work on you, like I'm a Reiki practitioner, so I'm going to do Reiki, but there are other techniques of energy work that you could be doing while the person is doing these breathing exercises. And the advantage of having a partner is they can encourage you to not to stop, just to keep going and not stop at the height of the in-breath, let it out, and then right away take in another breath and just keep it going. So you do this for about 45 minutes.
Yeah, the purpose of the partner also is to keep you from going into a meditative state too soon, because doing that for a few minutes will just take you wonderful places. And that was the biggest challenge for my partner, was to keep me in the present doing the energy work. And then at the very end, they say, okay, let her go.
Meditation.
That diaphragmatic breathing itself is a myofascial release. So your diaphragm is a very big muscle. It's right under your rib cage, and it takes up a big part there. So as you expand it, like I was saying before, you're massaging your organs. But if you think of fascia as the thing that connects everything in your body, they've dissected cadavers. You can see the fascial connection. So the biggest fascial connection goes from the bottoms of your feet up the insides of your legs to what we call the psoas muscle, which starts in your hips, runs up your middle. Psoas connects to the bottom of the diaphragm, which then connects fascially up through your heart, up to your throat and your thyroid. So that's pretty much almost all of your chakras. They call the psoas the seat of the soul, but that's the main fascial line. So if you think about it, every time you take a breath, you're stretching that fascia. You're releasing the pull on your heart. You're releasing the pull on your throat. It's really a full body experience, and that kind of breathing facilitates that a lot and sends you into a myofascial release pretty much. So that's really cool. Thanks for sharing that.
That was great. Let's see. Does anybody have any other questions for Alyssa or Antimony? I'm not seeing anything on Facebook either.
Almost like a medical question. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
We hope that this was helpful for you guys. I hope that you can take these principles into your lives and really care for yourself. You are the most important person in your life. I know that it seems like your kids are the most important, but you can't take care of them if you don't take care of yourself. And it might seem like, other things are more important, take precedence over your life. But you cannot give of yourself if you are not in the right place. Yeah. Like we said, you can't pour from an empty cup. So we definitely hope that you will take some of these practices or these suggestions and implement them into your regular routine to take good care of yourselves. And we are so grateful that we had this time to share this with you. And if you come up with any questions, feel free to PM either of us. Yeah, message us, and, social media, Facebook, that sort of thing. Our inboxes are open for questions. Might take 24 or 48 hours to respond, but we'll get back to you.
Thank you so much, ladies. We love you all.
Thank
and
you.
Blessed be.
Great. Word.
Hi, bro.
Hey. So thank you all so much for checking this out, supporting Reverend Alyssa and Reverend Christina. Reverend Alyssa is a witch school mentor, and so if you think that you want to incorporate any of this into your witch school learning, if you want to do any second degree projects on this, if you want to expand and learn and learn a little bit more, feel free to reach out to Lady Alyssa. She is a witch school mentor. You can find Reverend Christina on Facebook and reach out to her if you have any questions. I know that she also does videos very regularly that she puts on her page.
Fashion Mondays, yep.
So
where
cool.
I teach you all of the stuff that I was teaching today, but I also do a live practice so you can do it along with me. So you know what it feels like, what to expect when you do it by yourself.
So if you're interested and you like it, reach out to these folks. And that concludes this part of our Lustration weekend for today. I will be putting the stuff that happened on Corellian Lustration Live in the other places if they're not there already. Like I know I have like a lot of proactive people around me. But if you want the stuff that we did this morning at the cemetery, along with quite possibly some of the pictures that we took while we're on a scavenger hunt, take a look at that. And I will be certain to keep a lookout for all of you during the rest of the stuff that we have planned for this weekend. So thank you all for coming.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us, Phoenix and everyone. We love you all so very much. And I believe I can speak for everybody here. We all wish we were there with you physically, but we're there with you virtually. So tomorrow we have one workshop lined up for 11 a.m., 11:30 a.m. Hold on, let me check the flyer that I made. It is 11 a.m. with the Lost Gods of Ethiopia presented by Reverend Moonraven. So that'll be fun. Until then, bye.
Blessed be.
Blessed be.
Bye.
Bye, Mabel. Oh my gosh, that child. Oh, hi. Hi. Aw, she's so adorable. I love her so much. Give her all the hugs and kisses. All right, guys, let me stop the stream here.